Welcome, WagerTalk Studios. I'm here to tell you why you're going to play against, why you're going to fade a 15-4 Utah Jazz team against a team that's playing their third game in 4 days at altitude, being the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, a focus on tonight's matchup could center around 100 different things, 100 different scenarios, et cetera, Team A versus Team B. Who do I like and why? But the focus on tonight's preview is about an NBA troop playing a third game in 4 days. Oklahoma City over the last 2 years have been one of the best teams in the second legs of back-to-backs and in third games in 4 days. They're the best team in third game in 4 days this year, despite having a 3-3 record across those 6 because of their point differential. A team that's basically virtually tied 2 games behind the top spot in the Western Conference with the Minnesota Timberwolves. So again, tonight's situation, the Thunder. A third game in 4 days comes into play tonight. And they play a team 15-4, 2 days rest, and winners of 6 straight. The Thunder's first situation this year, third game in 4 days, came against Portland early in the season, and they won that game 134-91 in Portland. The second in Denver, a game the Thunder won again, 119-93, a third game in 4 days. And the Joker was 9 for 10 from the field in that contest. They held Denver to 93 points. The third and fourth situations for OKC happened within a stretch of games, of 4 games in 6 days. 2 third games in 4 days, a stretch over the New Year's holiday in which the Thunder played those 4 games in 6 days, 2 road games, one in Atlanta, one in Brooklyn. The Atlanta game at the Mercedes-Benz venue, they lost in a closely contested game that they were in for the whole time. Same applies to the game they played in Brooklyn against the Nets at the Barclays Center. A game they lost. By 11 or 13, I think, but they were in this game the entire time. The fifth game. Now they're 2-2. They're 2-2 on the season in third games in 4 days. They go back home for a 2-game set, or if you want to call that a homestand, a set, not really 2 games, but that said, they played Portland. 2 days later, they played Orlando. They won both games. The Portland game was a third game in 4 days. They held Portland to 100 points. A team that's supposed to be fatigued, tired, playing a third game in 4 days, no chance. Portland had no chance. Oklahoma City at home wins, holding Portland to 100 points. Now, that last homestand I just mentioned, the 2 games, Portland, Orlando, 2 days later, they headed west to LA for 2 games, 2 games, 2 days. First game, LA Lakers, second game, LA Clippers. And they lost the Lakers in a defensive battle, a hard-fought game that they played a lot of players, a lot of minutes in. In the end, came up short. In the Clippers game, they were in it the whole time against arguably the best team in the NBA right now. In my opinion, the best team. And they're built for postseason play. This is a team that right now I have some futures on to win the whole thing. I like the futures, want to play some more. But that takes, never mind. It takes more money than I have. So to our quest, to our task, to our understanding why we're going to step in front of a 15-4 Utah team. Why? OKC is deep. They're so deep. What Coach Denant does and his staff is in the second legs of a back-to-back, they play multitude of players. In the third game in 4 days, they do the same thing. To give you an example, this Clippers game that happened Tuesday, which was the second leg of a back-to-back, and the third game in 4 days, they played 15 of their 15 available players. They don't have 15 of 15 available players. 12 of the 15 played 10-plus minutes. Why does this matter? It doesn't necessarily matter for the game at hand. You don't want to back the Thunder every time they have a second leg of a back-to-back or a third game in 4 days. I'm not saying that. But there are advantages to knowing what a team does in certain situations. And in this situation, I would say, if you knew, and I'll give you an example here. If you knew that Jalen Williams and Lou Dort were going to play 19 minutes apiece, and that's what they did in this Clippers game, when the two average 32 and 29 respectively, Williams 32 a game, 32 minutes, Dort 29 minutes a game. How does that change the way you attack player props. Use your imagination. I think you know what I'm talking about. So tonight's situation, the Thunder, third game in 4 days. They were supposed to be playing a Utah team that was on the second leg of a back-to-back. That didn't happen, so this scenario has changed a little bit. Why did it not happen? Because last night's game between Golden State and Utah canceled. Why was it canceled? I'm sure all of you know the Warriors finally broke their silence on the tragic passing of Milosevic. Dejan Milosevic is a coach for Golden State, a very good coach. And the people I know in Golden State say he's a better man than he was coach, and he's a hell of a good coach. So our condolences to the Milosevic family, a young man everyone liked, knew, and spent a lot of time with if you worked around him and knew his family. So that said, again, our condolences. So before I issue my final take on this Jazz versus Thunder, I want to note Utah is playing really well. They really are. And while it may be difficult for some of you to stand in front of them, I'm going to tell you why. First off, Will Hardy, been terrific. Making every single move he makes is the right move so far. And a Coach of the Year candidate at plus 2,500 DraftKings right now. If you think this team's going to make the postseason, if you think Utah can make the postseason, that 2,500 plus 2,500 is in play, guys. It's in play for Coach of the Year for Will Hardy. So the riddle of the top 5 teams in the NBA right now over the course of the last month, everyone you talk to, a weekend Warriors or at least the Joe, would tell you that the Jazz are there, right? They're 15-4 across the last 19 games. So a 14.4 differential, spread differential. It means they're 14 points better than the books have set their spread at, and that's pretty staggering if you ask me. They aren't in the top 5 of teams over the last month, even though they're 15-4 with the largest differential. New Orleans, the top, Boston, second, Clippers, the third team. OKC Thunder are the 4th best team over the last month. Why? Because they're so deep. They've played a lot of games. They're so deep, and they're so well coached, and they have such great young talent that fatigue doesn't come into play. In fact, I think they get better on the second leg of back-to-backs and third game in 4 days. Their depth is ridiculous. You take their top reserves, put them in the 1, 2, and 3 spots on the floor with Williams and Holmgren with 4 and 5. They have a plus 21.4 rating, net rating. The defense, 78.6 defensive efficiency rating for those second unit or the second rotation. They're versatile. They're elite. Outside of having a true 5, they're as good as any team in the NBA, and they're better than the Jazz leaps and bounds. The Jazz are playing well, and the Thunder are still giving 4.5 tonight. At the time of this taping, Thunder minus 3.5, total of 244. Extra day's rest, avoiding the second leg of a back-to-back for Utah, not enough for me. OKC minus the number, over the total of 244. And a top player prop, Chet Holmgren, over 17.5 points, minus 115 at DraftKings. I'm Tony Finn. I can't wait till tomorrow.